Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Dak is back, and the Cowboys are upset-minded heading into week one. Also, the Clippers being put under the spotlight after allegedly paying Kawhi kind of under the table. And the Chicago Bears are set for a major breakthrough.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Dallas Cowboys will take on the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday night to kick off the season without Micah Parsons, who now resides in Green Bay. But it's not like they are going to trot out some AAA Austin team. This is still going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Marcus Mosher from Locked On Cowboys joins me now. And Marcus, the Cowboys got some good injury news this week about a couple of key players who it looks like have a chance to suit up here. That being said, no one's going to pick them to beat the Eagles. So what are you looking for here?
First of all, can you say Micah Parsons to the Packers with a bigger grin on your face? Please, just do that. No, I get it. Yeah, nobody's going to pick the Cowboys on Thursday. They are the biggest underdogs of the week, which is a little crazy considering it is an NFC East game and Dak Prescott does play really well against Philadelphia. But I get it. The last time we saw Philadelphia, they destroyed Kansas City. Meanwhile, the Cowboys got a new coaching staff. Their best players not on the roster. But that's why they play the game, Peter.
Yeah, and we talked to Lou DiBiase yesterday, and there's been some the take right now. The contrarian take is, well, this is a trap game now for the Eagles because they're not going to bring their A game. They're going to have the Super Bowl hangover. So let's take that in the most diplomatic way possible, Marcus. Build me the case. What is the scenario where Dallas comes in and wins? Is it like 38-35? Is that what we're looking at here?
I think it's more like, 31-28, where the Cowboys offense can just play ball control. They went out and got George Pickens for this reason, right? They go in the division that you're going to need to score a lot of points. And I think the Cowboys feel like they can get this Philadelphia secondary. It's incredibly young. They might be starting, Cooper DeJean in the slot. They've got Andrew Mubuka, their second-round pick from Texas, as one of their safeties. And then Adoree Jackson, who the Cowboys have beat up on over the last several years when he was with the Giants. He's going to be one of the outside starting cornerbacks. And maybe this is a game that Pickens, gets a lot of one-on-one coverage and he wins down the field. And CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson just do a lot of damage in the middle of the field. Again, Dak Prescott, 33-7 in the division during his career. That's how they win this game, is by Dak Prescott and the offense being awesome.
So what is the plan then to generate a pass rush? Can you give me that one?
I mean, no. Now, one of the things that Jerry Jones said in the press conference, which I'm really trying to forget, but Jerry Jones said that, hey, you can scheme up pass rush. You can't really scheme up stopping the run. I don't 100% believe that, but I do think we're going to see the Cowboys be aggressive in blitzing. And Matt Eberflus has said, hey, I've got an offense that can score a lot of points. I'm going to be aggressive on defense. They haven't had
really his identity, though, Marcus.
It's not, which is why Cowboy fans are a little bit leery about actually believing that. But I will say the Cowboys have not had Micah Parsons all summer long. Like, he did not practice with the team at all. Like, they've been practicing with these current guys that are on the field. I wouldn't be surprised if Eberflus has some tricks up his sleeve for the game on Thursday night.
And blitz pressure, that's been Jalen Hurts' Achilles heel over his career. It's just that he's played behind the best or one of the best offensive lines his entire career. It's hard to create pressure. So we'll see, Donovan Ezaraku potentially part of the solution. And maybe Kenny Clark comes out and has a resurgent game. It seems like this is Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, you mentioned. Do they need to get anything out of a running game that they've really tried to revamp over the course of this offseason?
I mean, I think they're going to try, but I don't think it's going to be your traditional, hey, we're giving Javonte Williams 18 carries, and that's the way we're going to run the ball. I think it's going to be like, hey, Javonte, you get 8 carries, and then Devontae Turpin, you get 3, and CeeDee Lamb, you get 2 jet sweeps, and they try to cobble together a running game like that. But if you expect the Cowboys to go in there and rush for 200 yards the conventional way, it's not happening.
The thing is, Vic Fangio is content to play two high safeties, and you're going to get some of that soft zone coverage. So what teams want to do is say, hey, well, we're going to try and run you out of those two high safety looks. That's just really hard with Jalen Carter. So offensive line wise, can this revamped, retooled, hopefully, if you're a Cowboys fan, revitalized offensive line, you lose Zach Martin, like that's really hard to say. Can they get something on the ground, do you think?
We'll see. The Cowboys have the youngest offensive line in the NFL. They've spent a ton of resources at the position. They believe they've got a unit that can go toe-to-toe with the best pass rushes in the league. But we really didn't see much of the offensive line in preseason. Tyler Guyton did not take a snap. He missed basically all of summer with a knee injury. We'll see. On the other side, Philadelphia does have a lot of new pieces. The depth isn't there compared to what they had last year, but the Cowboys believe this is an offense that can play ball control, that can be efficient in the red zone, they can score a bunch of touchdowns. And hey, worst case scenario, you get past the, I don't know, your own 45-yard line, and you got Brandon Aubrey, who can kick it from 70 yards out. They think they can score 30-plus points in this game. Again, that's always easier said than done, but the Cowboys are confident that they're going to be in this game and contend for it.
You can stay up to date all year with the Dallas Cowboys by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Cowboys on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Clippers might have done some shady business. Before we get to that, the Mavericks are extending a key role player. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. The Dallas Mavericks are extending P.J. Washington on a 4-year, $90 million deal.
There it is. Shams Charania reports that the Mavericks are extending P.J. Washington the 4 years, $90 million deal that we all expected. That's the max that he could have gotten from the Mavericks. And so the Mavericks are making an investment in P.J. Washington. They're deciding, hey, we're going to keep this guy around. Even though there's some redundancy between Anthony Davis's position, Cooper Flagg's position, and P.J. Washington, they're all basically fours. But the Mavericks are going to keep all of them. I think it's a good move because P.J. Washington would have some value out there on the open market. This is a player that teams would want. Everybody needs a player like this that can play multiple positions on the wing, can defend multiple different types of positions, is big, can shoot the three as well. And this is the maximum they could extend him at, and they got it. He agreed to it, which is awesome. The last year of his deal will be about $24 million. And if you start looking through the other players at that mark, Miles Bridges making $25 million a year. Jaden McDaniels making about $24 million a year. Kyle Kuzma making $23 million a year. Harrison Barnes making about $19 million a year. Trey Murphy the third making $25 million a year. Like, P.J. Washington should be in that class with some of those guys. Absolutely. He is now ineligible to be traded this season, so the Mavericks cannot trade him, but the Mavs make a big investment in P.J. Washington, and I think it's the right one to pair him with Cooper Flagg, with Anthony Davis, and with everything else the Mavericks have going on. Now they have real solid depth for the next couple years here at the forward spot.
Over on the diamond, Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers look to rebound against the Pirates.
Game 2 of the series goes to the Pittsburgh Pirates. 3-0, their 17th shutout of the season. Hey, this is Gary from Locked On Pirates. Man, the Bucks just keep tossing out duos of young pitching at these bigger teams, and they're either not scouted all that well or they are as promising as they look like they might be. Tonight, it was Braxton Ashcraft and Mike Burrows, and I'm not going to say it was smooth sailing the entire time. Braxton Ashcraft loaded the bases a couple of times and weaseled his way out of it. Mike Burrows pitched in and out of the raindrops himself. The Dodgers left 10 men on base. The Pirates were no slouch at that either. They left 7. 2 big swings of the bat in this one, though. Brian Reynolds, a home run. Andrew McCutchen, a home run. Really all the Pirates needed. They would add on another later. But, Joey Bart had a really good night offensively as well. But, yeah, Pittsburgh Pirates can pitch. And, boy, can they pitch their ass off. So, no matter who you are, that's the first thing you got to do. You're going to have to hit better than you normally do, even if you're a good hitting team. Because this is a good pitching baseball team. And, man, it's been fun to watch. Tomorrow, Going for the series sweep, the Pittsburgh Pirates are sending to the mound Paul Skeens. Can't wait. More on this tomorrow on Locked On Pirates.
Aaron Nola took the bump for the Phillies on the road against Milwaukee.
Couple of things jumping out to me after this Phillies 6-3 loss to the Brewers. Number one, Aaron Nola, 5 runs in the first inning. That's terrible. An 8.38 ERA since coming off the IL. Even worse. And there hasn't been really any glimmer of hope that he'll be able to obtain any sort of positive consistency to help this Phillies team down the stretch or even in the postseason. Phillies right now considering a 6-man rotation. You might have to reconsider, especially if Walker Buehler turns out to be anything special for the Phillies when he's able to pitch for them coming up in a little bit more than a week. After that, it's the offense. 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Of that 1 for 8, Bryce Harper 0 for 3 coming to the plate with runners in scoring position. Inexcusable in a game where you certainly needed your offense to be able to get jump-started at some point.
The Clippers have been accused of attempting to circumvent the NBA's salary cap by paying Kawhi Leonard for a no-show job. Locked On NBA host Wes Goldberg and Nick Gangstad believe that if this is true, no punishment in response could go too far.
Pablo Torre, formerly of ESPN, now of Pablo Finds Out. Pablo did find out. He did find out something about the Clippers because he found that Kawhi Leonard was signed a secret $28 million deal. Steve Ballmer funded a fraud. He followed the money and found like this corporation. This corporation was kind of like KL2 that was connected to some payments and things like that. And it basically looks like Steve Ballmer was paying Kawhi Leonard under the table in some way, shape, or form. The Clippers released a statement saying neither Mr. Ballmer nor the Clippers circumvented the salary cap or engaged in any misconduct related to Aspiration, which is the company that was making the payments. Any contrary assertion is provably false, says the Clippers official statement. I'm going to start here with this, Wes. Do you believe Pablo or do you believe the Clippers on this one?
I believe Pablo. This is a huge win for sports journalism. Huge credit goes to Pablo Torre and his team, who had apparently been working on this for more than half a year before releasing this. So this isn't just some sort of tweet in the middle of the night. This is something that was excruciatingly researched and reported. And so a lot of credit goes to them. And I definitely believe them because this wasn't the first time we heard about a little, something's weird with that Kawhi Leonard contract. There was an investigation into this a few years ago when he had first signed the initial contract before he signed this previous extension, the most recent extension. And that investigation didn't lead to anywhere, which might be why Pablo Torre and his team went a little bit further with this in the first place. So yes, I believe Pablo Torre. I believe the journalist. I believe all of this. I don't believe the PR department and the team who is being attacked for this stuff and with the obvious vested interest in this. Big win for sports journalism today.
Absolutely. I agree with Wes there. Like I 100% believe Pablo. Like Steve Ballmer has always like he's a very energetic guy, but to me, he's a businessman, and businessmen do things like this. I'm not surprised that somebody who built themselves up in the way that Steve Ballmer has had under the table deals to help a player that he wanted to come to his team. So I'm not surprised at this at all. I 100% believe Pablo, and I can't wait to see how the NBA responds to this, because you would think that at least an investigation or something has to be announced here within the next 24 hours. You cannot let this sit just out there and let people just run with this for more than a day. Like they need to have a swift action on this as much as they can to at least announce that they are at least looking into it here soon.
The thing about this is that does it matter? Is this a big deal for the NBA that the players getting paid under the table? There's been rumors and thoughts about this in a long time. Maybe this is the first time we've seen actual, like, some kind of proof in this happening. But Hayes, does this matter for the NBA at large? Or is this just a Kawhi, Clippers, Steve Ballmer? All right, let's slap him on the wrist and let's just move on.
Oh, it absolutely matters. I mean, the last time this happened was 25 years ago with Minnesota and Joe Smith. So, like, yeah, I mean, the NBA cannot just sit idly by in this. This is a huge deal, and especially when you're now in the area of the second tax apron and teams are going to be absolutely terrified of going into the second tax apron, you have to at least be worried that more things like this are going down or have the potential to go down. The NBA owners are making more money than ever. I think you have to be swift about this one.
There is no way to overstate how big of a deal this is. This has the potential to be the biggest scandal in the Adam Silver tenure as commissioner. If this is true, Adam Silver and the NBA have to make an example of the Clippers. They absolutely have to. I want to remind people, private equity is now part of NBA ownership teams and programs now. In 2020, the NBA allowed private equity to get in on NBA ownership. What this has the potential to do, if what this is basically, right, you've got Steve Ballmer, multi-billionaire, one of the sixth richest guy in the world, owning an NBA franchise. If he's able to circumvent the salary cap and create these separate businesses and LLCs and all these accounts to funnel monies to players, to star players, what's to stop a private equity firm for buying, let's say, a minor stake in an NBA team in order to offset that kind of investment from an owner? That's the problem here. This has the potential, in other words, to kind of become the Wild West like college football has become. And that is for sure what Adam Silver does not want, because if you look at Adam Silver's tenure as the commissioner, what is the crown jewel of his tenure? It's the CBA. It's this salary cap. This is the biggest thing that Adam Silver has put together. It's this new CBA that has leveled the playing field in some respects between the big markets and the small markets. It's a salary cap that has been put into place to directly contradict everything that Steve Ballmer is, right? If there was no salary cap, the Clippers would be able to buy every single player because he is so rich. Between him and Joe Lacob with the Warriors, like, this is what the salary cap was built to prevent. And now you have an owner and a player, a star player, thinking, doesn't matter. We can find a way to get around it. And so not only do you have to stop this because of the competitive integrity of all this stuff, why I say this is squarely on Adam Silver, this is to me a blight on Adam Silver's tenure as commissioner, because between players gambling on games, between everything that's happening, there seems to be a feeling around the league that that players can get away with something. And that is not okay if you're the commissioner.
Stay up to date all year on the NBA by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On NBA on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, the Chicago Bears are ready to break out. You've probably already heard it a million times this offseason, but Caleb Williams and the Bears are primed for a breakout season under first-year head coach Ben Johnson. Locked On NFL host Tyler Rowland and Luke Braun share their bold predictions for Chicago.
Because Ben Johnson's come in, tried to do that, and there's been pre-snap issues, there's been operational stuff, they've screwed up stuff in the huddle, they've screwed up.
I think that's a good thing for the record. The friction, the tension, I think that's a good thing, because
long-term,
a good coach needs to shake them out of the crap, habits.
15 years of quitting by the end of the year, right?
Right.
Of cutting the brakes week 15 or cutting the engine week 15, maybe both.
Right. Maybe both.
So I think that's great. And Ben Johnson kind of getting these guys in, but we cannot expect this to happen right away. And the Bears are so good at getting crowned for doing nothing. Like they're so good at getting crowned before they have played any football.
People want them to be good.
People want
Chicago,
them so
big market.
Congratulations on your third consecutive offseason Lombardi. But here's what I'm going to do. Bears fans, you're going to hate this more than you've hated most of the things I've said about you. I'm going to compare them to the Packers. Because the Packers had a big problem on their defense in their pass rush, and they brought back all the same players, essentially hoping for most of the offseason that coaching would just sort of magically be better and that the group would be fixed because we changed the coach and it's better. Then they decided that wasn't good enough, and they went out and they did something aggressive, and now they don't have to hope that the coaches are better. They got a much better player on that pass rush. They got Micah Parsons, and now that's the thesis. The Bears have not done that. The Bears have run back quite a bit. Now, they fixed the offensive line. That is huge for them.
Yes.
But I don't know if I super believe in this pass-catching core. I don't think Colston Loveland is tight end one. I think it's still Cole Kmet. It's still Rome Odunze. It's still DJ Moore for whatever you get out of him. What's the tension going to be like with him, with more of a hard-headed guy at coach? At head coach, what's that going to be like? I think there's a lot of questions about that.
I'm not buying it because I've seen this movie too many times before. I've seen the Chicago Bears win the offseason more times than any team in the NFL has won the Super Bowl. They win the offseason every year. Remember when Caleb Williams was in the best position for a number one pick ever? Remember when this was Justin Fields' year? We swear. Remember when I promise Mitch Trubisky is good enough at quarterback to get you further in the playoffs? No. Until we see it, no. And Caleb Williams was the number one overall pick. He is a very talented thrower of the football. There are still issues with him holding the ball too long, not recognizing where pressure is coming from, not feeling pressure in the pocket. Coincidentally, perhaps ironically, perhaps tragically, if you're a Bears fan, those are the same issues Justin Fields had. The game he didn't see it the right way. And I worry that is what's happening with Caleb Williams, that when